Okay. So,
Don't judge. I know. I could have. There's a lot of things wrong with this because. Let me explain a little bit. I watch a lot of streamers,
mhm.
in particular carrier streamers, and I chose like one way for the captain build and another way for the
Upgrades?
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
right. So I got the UU upgrade, and then but at the same time I didn't upgrade I'm struggling with the the uh the boost. I never had any boost like the entire time. It was really frustrating. So I need to change things. So sorry, my apologies.
All right. Again, no need to apologize. You have your ship set up the way you have it set up, and I would look at it as, you know, like if it works for you, it's great. If it doesn't work for you, then you have the ability to change it and do whatever. So, all right, you've got the unique upgrade that obviously gives you additional duration of your boost, or less duration of boost, I should say, but it does give your
Yeah.
squadrons higher cruising speed. So, okay, that's fine. I know that there are people that like that, and I know there's people that are more dependent on the boost and they use flight control mod too. It's fine either way.
Yeah, I
Um,
I, I think oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. And then you've got air groups modification 1, which makes sense. You've got aircraft engines, which makes sense. You've gone for attack here. So you want the extra time to line up attacks with your rockets.
That is an accident. I actually didn't know that. I thought that was I. This is how dumb I am. I thought that was the torpedo attack time. So I
Okay.
thought that would add 10% or 10 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
to the attack time
Okay.
for the torpedoes, not the rockets. So I'll change that immediately.
So what that does, the other option is to increase your torpedo speed. Or here, you've got 5 seconds to torpedo bomber attack time. So it depends on which of those two you would prefer.
Yeah.
If you're good about getting in and just launching your attack, the extra 5 seconds don't matter. So torpedo speed might be the better choice. But if you need the
But
extra time, then there you go.
yeah. I prefer the shorter arming distance because
Okay.
people like to hug islands.
Uh huh.
And if you increase the torpedo speed, then it also extends
Mm-hmm.
the arming time.
Right. So this is a case where you were talking about earlier where commander skills and upgrades synergize together. If you go for this, you
Yeah.
would probably also go for the swift fish to speed up your aerial torpedoes even more so, which means that you're not targeting ships that are hugging islands as often. So it comes down to, again, how you choose to play.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've buffed your torpedo bombers health. Here, I might actually choose to buff the your dive bombers, maybe
Okay.
your attack aircraft. And the reason for that, chat, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I played Japanese carriers to where I cared about them that much, but my understanding is that the torpedo bombers for Hakuryu fly underneath flak. And if that's the case, you probably don't need to worry about your hit points too much for torpedo bombers. You might be better off instead going for your AP bombers because their attack run goes up and then down through all the anti-air.
Yeah, and they're actually very good. I think they're underrated. The attack or the AP bombers for Haku are, I think they're pretty underrated because
Mm-hmm.
they people don't realize that you could take like half a lot of cruisers' health. They're really powerful, and
Right.
you actually see that at some point in this game.
Okay. Fair enough. And yeah, Chad is also saying, hey, if torpedoes are your bread and butter, then buff your torpedoes. That makes sense too.
You're right.
Um,
That's what I thought I was doing. I'm sorry.
no worries. And then you've gone for buffing your flight control, so that's fine. All right, let's take a look now at your captain build. Are you using a special captain, or is it just the regular captain?
Yeah, just a regular one.
Okay. The reason I ask you is because the Suzukis actually have buffed survivability expert, which obviously helps your planes not die as quickly. So if you don't have a Suzuki captain, you can throw one of those into the Japanese carriers, and that will help your planes a little bit because they're famously made of paper.
Suzuki Captain? The
Yep. Yep. There's one that you can buy for coal in the armory. There's one you can buy for 1,000 doubloons in the armory. Either one, they both have the same buff.
I just earned the what's the her like I can't think of the name
Yamamoto,
now.
the heroic captain.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Now,
I just earned that guy.
Yamamoto doesn't do anything really for carriers unless you get a Kraken. So
Yeah.
the reason I'm bringing up the Suzuki is because that would do something to help your current build. Also, the Suzukis are very useful on Japanese destroyers for the same reason. They have buff survivability expert.
Right.
Anyways, let's take a look at your captain build. So you start off with air supremacy. Makes perfect sense. You went from there into improved engines. Also makes perfect sense. And then aircraft armor. Makes good sense. And then you went up here to repair specialist. That's fine. Now this is going to be for your torpedo bombers. Gives you an extra repair, and it helps you heal for longer through flak. That's fine. You've done aircraft armor. Fine. And then from there, you went into survivability expert. Sure. And then you've gone into torpedo bomber, and then you've gone into proximity fuse. So what you've done is you've made a very torpedo-centric build. You're all about the torpedo bombers. So if that's the case, go back up here when I was talking about torpedo bombers modification 2. Okay, cool. Makes sense to do that. And then you definitely want to change that to buffing your torpedo bomber attack time. Okay. Flags.
I wish I wouldn't have gone with the flag skill, but I was watching, like I said before, every like other streamer, yada yada. But I would have preferred to have gone with other things than the flag skill, because I really don't eat that much flag anymore.
Okay. So again, if you and that's another thing too. If you find yourself doing okay with flak, then sure, you can drop this. And what can you pick up instead? Well, you could go for bomber flight control if you want to give your AP bombers a little bit of a boost. I know some people like to go site stabilization, so you could do that, and then you can pick up something up here like improved engine boost. So you've got some options if you wanted to drop this. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely need to change the rockets. I can't believe I did that until I just watched this. So this is very educational. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's take a look at flags. Fire chance flags. Okay, that will buff your rockets, and really only your rockets, although there is one of these that also has flooding chance, so that's fine. Obviously, increased flooding chance. You can't detonate a carrier, so you don't worry about that. Hit point restoration, ship speed, consumables, secondaries.
Yeah,
and
I go all out, man.
All right, I would actually drop the secondary flag. I don't think your secondaries are going to do that much for you. Maybe. But what I would do instead is I would go for either the flooding recovery time or the fire extinguishing time. And the reason for that is you will automatically DCP the first fire or flood, right? Or whatever incapacitation you have. But then the second one really sticks and stings. And if it's up against a sub or destroyer, that will most likely be a flood. So this would save you a good amount of HP by reducing that flooding time.
Okay.
Alternately, you could go for Hotel Yankee for ramming. If you find yourself constantly being a situation where you just jump out there with your carrier because what the hell, why not? You know, having the extra ramming damage would be kind of fun. But I would probably go for flooding recovery time first and foremost.
Okay.
All right. So that's enough with your build. Here's our fun cover pic that we are taking of you in the carrier. And because you're carrier, we'll see if we can get a picture of you launching planes. It's always difficult because the camera will shift as soon as you change to your planes, but We can make it happen. Obviously, you're going to launch with your torpedo bombers first. No, you went
I did
rockets.
not. Yeah.
Why
I
rockets?
should have gone torpedo bombers first. I like to catch the battleships off guard, like
Uh-huh.
in the middle of the cap, trying to get somewhere, or in the middle of the map, trying to get somewhere.
Yep.
But for some reason, I didn't, because I was playing like Saipan earlier,
Uh-huh.
and I was trying to get that perma fire or whatever, and I was just used to doing that. It was a definitely a mistake.
Mm-hmm. So the nice thing about the rocket planes is they are faster, so that comes in handy. Now, I see you're up against a test carrier, unfortunately, which, guys, is a test ship, so I can't comment about that ship's characteristics. Although I believe that's
That was
um,
just UU. It was just a
yeah,
unique upgrade
for
German
Manfred.
carrier. Yeah. Yep.
So its characteristics have been posted in the dev blog, but other than that, I can't really talk about it. All right, now.
Yeah, that's all he told me too.
Um, I don't like what you're doing here. It feels like you're kind of waffling around a bit, not sure what to do. Um,
Yeah, that's accurate.
the Brizzy shows up, and because of that, you get to smack him. The first thing I would have done is turned around as quickly as possible. The second thing I would have done was launch attack mode, because you take reduced damage to your planes while you're in attack mode. And then once you're outside of anti-air range of your enemies, then you can then what you can do is you can drop a fighter plane. And when you drop that fighter plane, that keeps everybody that you've been spotting lit for your team.
Yeah, normally I would have dropped a fighter plane a little earlier. I was concerned about the enemy carrier is actually a pretty good player, and
Yeah.
I was concerned about him like wrecking my team like pretty badly. And I was concerned about him sniping me as well. He's a much better player than I am. So I kind of probably took a little bit more caution than I should have.
Sure. Gotcha. And I saw you recalled your squadron as soon as you saw that he was coming towards you.
Yeah, yeah, I was like I said before, I was pretty concerned about getting sniped. And you could see here, like he did actually try to snipe me.
Yep, I saw that. Well, I mean, he's in a test ship, so he could be very well testing the impact. As Pockington says, the dev blog has explained that attack aircraft are kind of buffed. So maybe he's trying to test how that is going to work. Now, what's your decision for going after the Wooster here with your bombers instead of, like, say, the Kurfürst or somebody else?
I was trying to get him out of the game, and actually, I mean, I did land too, but at the same time, I mean, that's not like he was kind of in my way. You know how when you're playing carriers, like there's particular ships, if they're AA ships, I like to try to get them out of the game earlier than later, because
Okay.
they kind of screw up the game for me anyway. I don't like to just fly around them and avoid them. But
Okay.
that's just me, generally, not always, but
Okay.
in this particular case.
Sure. Now, I see you recalled again. My guess is you recognized where you were, and I was just going to comment on that. You're kind of... You got to run away, right? Your Des Moines and Slava are bailing from that flank, so you need to get out of that kind of
Yeah.
situation. And now you're going to drop the Brizzy. Okay. Personally, I would have gone for the Kurfürst, but okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a lot of mistakes that I definitely made there, that I could have done better. That's well, obviously that's why
It's fine.
sent the replay in.
It's
So
fine. You know, the thing about carrier is that there's always, I would say it's information overload for a lot of people. And the challenge is
me
handling
included.
all that information. And like Contra says, when you make mistakes and then you acknowledge them, that's how you learn. Here, I might have gone for the Kremlin instead of the Z-52, but I also understand the thought there of try to slow him down.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could have gone for the easier damage for sure.
Mhm.
There's no question about that. And maybe I probably should have. There's no question about that either. Because I looked at this replay before,
Mhm.
before I sent it in, and I'm not sure. Like it did deter him later in the game. Like he was like, wait, maybe I shouldn't keep going. But I don't know if that had any game impact or not. It's hard to tell for me.
Okay. I do like that you're chaining a strike from one ship to the next. You were looking at the MOSFET and then you recognized, okay, it's probably not going to work. I think you were a little late on dropping your torpedoes. Once you're down to 2 planes, just luck chuck the torps and let them come back to the carrier.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got a division mate. I didn't notice that in the Sherman. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good guy. Naturally.
Of course. See, that one plane that you luck chuck torps with got a torpedo hit, so had you...
It did. It totally did. I laughed at that too, so I'm sorry.
No, had you launched just a second earlier, that might have gotten 2 instead of 1.
Yeah. I thought that too. Yeah.
I very much like your attack there on the Kremlin. You knew exactly where he was, and then you planned your attack accordingly, so that was really cool. Yeah, that was a double citadel, right. Slava's dead, so now it's Des Moines. That's okay. I like keeping the Des Moines, or the Z-52 lit so that the Des Moines can shoot him.
Yeah. He was like, those two guys were having really hard time with the Z. So, like, I didn't want him to curl around me and get like the rest of the team, because the rest of the team is literally in one spot.
They're all on CCAP, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is good. And then you force them to go defensive. And the nice thing about the Hakuryu torpedo bombers is even if you miss, you've got so many torpedo bombers, you can just keep dropping on them.
Yeah, it's kind of, bull crap, if I excuse layman terms. But I mean, I feel kind of bad because it's kind of stupid. I mean, a little bit stupid. But yeah, I mean, you got to use what you got to use.
That's right. Now you've got a Brizzy that has decided to reverse into...
Yeah, he's screwed.
Okay. Yeah, you got 3 citadels, and that's crazy considering your reticle there. You were using your, A and D keys to turn your planes quite a bit there.
Oh, no. The reticle was fully closed on that particular attack. It's just a replay bug.
Yep, there is a replay bug with carriers and reticles. Fair enough. Oh my god, BFK! BFK, thank you for the sub, dude. How you doing? Nicest man in WoWs? Or are you not the nicest man in WoWs anymore?
Just resubscribed for 4 months. That's to the Lexi.
I mean, we're all big fans of you, sir. How was the Hornet? Did you have a good time? Yeah, I know. When Raptor was talking to us about who he met, and he mentioned you, I asked if you had your characteristic bow tie going. My wife even remembers you by that bow tie from pre-COVID Hornet. He told me he was surrounded by 07 players for a bit. You're at Shokaku? So now you're kind of fortunate in that the enemy team has pretty much been broken up. So you can just
Yeah,
drop
it's a
out
free
things
farm
at your
here.
leisure.
I,
Mm.
I actually thought that we were going to lose this game for the majority of it.
Well, you guys did a nice job of kiting away. And I feel like you blunting their push by messing with the Z-52 definitely slowed them down.
Yeah, I wondered that, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure
Well,
about that.
look at where the Z went. He went back
Yeah, I
into the
know.
middle.
I thought the same thing, but at the same time, like what would he been like? I still had Jackie, my only division mate, still there. So I'm not really sure if messing with him that much did anything, but just slow him down a little bit. But that's just
Well, it encouraged the Z to not come back, to not chase after you guys. It encouraged him to go back towards the middle where he had other ships that had anti-air. Unfortunately for him, those ships also died. So.
Yeah, yeah. I was fortunate that I'm surprised that this game was won because I mean you could see my team and they're all chasing the quote unquote test carrier, which wasn't really a test carrier. It was just a max or not a max. The
Whatever.
Yeah, MVR with the UU. So, we really shouldn't have won this game, in my opinion, at least I think.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, exactly right.
You win. I wouldn't complain about why did we win this game. It's more
I wasn't complaining. I'm just surprised that we did.
Yep. Oh, the gearing even smoked up the carrier for oh my god.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is redonkulous in my opinion. Like the whole game was because I shouldn't have won, and I got a not a super high XP game, but like it was close to 2K.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot, but I mean I was surprised because like they let me get this. It was I don't know, baffling.
Now I do see on your team a player that I know, BFK. You probably know this player as well, and that's Yamamoto 1941. That's the player I think it is. We're talking about a pretty big super unicum, and he's in the Colbert of all things, which means he's just gonna blow the heck out of whatever he can and not die in the process.
He was the guy on my team. Is that accurate?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah.
So
all right.
Colbert
He was
in the
asking
middle of your
for.
map.
Yeah, he was asking for air support, but there was a Brisbane on the other side of the rock, or something that would have shot down my planes, and I thought, I can't help you because there's, he'll shoot down all the planes immediately.
Right.
But yeah, there's no question that we definitely had help. Thanks for covering the replay, Zath.
Sure. I'm not a carrier main myself, so I can't give you all the little nuanced. You should have started your attack
I'm not
run
either.
at blank kilometers out or whatever. But what I can do is give you at least another perspective. And whether you agree or disagree with that perspective is fine.
No, thank you. This is what I expected. Thank you very much.
Cool. I'm glad I could help. The one thing I was surprised at is I'm sure you were in a voice chat with your division mate, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess I would have thought you would have asked your div mate in the Sherman to stop farming and instead go straight to the Z-52 while you keep him spotted. He could smoke, you spot him, and then he just saps the hell out of it, essentially, and kills it.
I thought of that, like, after, like, it's hard to explain. Like, he wants to farm damage, which is fine.
Sure.
I don't mind it. And and we're just there having fun.
Yeah.
It's hard to make demands out of a guy that you're just playing video games with.
Sure.
At the same time, I after I watched the replay, I should have said something. I would have, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is now. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
The reason I ask is while you were just talking about that, we watched as a Sherman sat there and just kept pew-pewing the Kremlin. And he's not going to do that much damage to the Kremlin.
No,
60
he's
millimeter
not.
armor. I mean,
Yeah, no, he's not.
So if you want a more decisive impact, taking out that destroyer, of course, is huge. Plus, who knows, you might run into the sub. As a matter of fact, there he goes, boom, right there. Just as you guys win, Z52 gets Robocops from everybody. So
Yeah, that was my main concern throughout the game. That was probably playing very well. He's probably a decent player.
yeah,
So, hats off to him if he's watching.
right. Cool. All right. Well, hey,
Thank
thank you
you
very much,
again.
Seaznutz, for sending the
Yeah.
replay in. This was a lot of fun. Oh, did I lose him already?
No, you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna exit. Thank you
All right,
again.
dude. No problem. Take care.